Prior, Knight, heavy class, male and female options, and the weapon is sword and kite shield. So
I like that you're talking in bullet points today.
That's just how I'm on that track. So you're gonna see a nuke throw a few of these attacks out there and move around a little bit. We're gonna see it in gameplay. What's important about this character? What does it bring to the table that's special? The tower shield, the kite shield for us is different. It's different than like Conqueror or Warlord. It's different than Gladiator's little buckler, and it kind of defines this character for us. And we want to show you the good stuff right off the bat. So let's show real quick what Bulwark stance is. It's an all block normal stance. So this is unlike Conqueror and Warlord where they get superior block. They block something and then they punish. This one is a normal block. Doesn't interrupt the heavy from the Shugoki, as you can see. But what's really interesting is the Bulwark counter. If someone throws an attack at you, say a regular top heavy, you give it the Bulwark counter and you flip it out. And you say, okay, Shugoki's learned his lesson.
Just toss 500 pounds of Shugoku over his head.
I can't throw a regular attack at this guy. Okay, so I'm going to throw an unblockable heavy attack at this guy and say, all right. I got flipped again.
Beautiful.
Come on.
Beautiful.
Come on. This is nonsense. This is basically unbeatable. So what's up next? I'm going to try regular attack, failed. Unblockable heavy attack, failed. I'm going to try Demon Embrace. So
give him a hug.
Give him a hug.
Oh,
flip two. I flipped two.
Countered the Demon
Black
Embrace.
Fire. Come on. This is OP. This is ridiculous. Is there any way to beat it at all? Guard break. Okay, guard break. All right, cool. That worked. So that's nice. At least there's something.
It is important to show that that's not an invincible move.
Exactly. Okay, I feel a little better. But it's going to define. It's going to change how things work in group fights. For example, people are throwing target swapped heavy attacks through you that you can't parry. Well, this guy can flip it. Black Prior, male or female, flip that out. So I'm super hyped for that. I think there's some other moves on this character as well.
Think?
Let's check.
So casual stuff.
Casual stuff today. Taunt, that doesn't count as a move.
Hey Steph, did you know that you can tech the guard break?
You can tech the guard break, but you
can't.
You cannot tech the guard break from. Go ahead and do it.
Roman is sending me written notes from behind the scenes.
Ready? Boom. Whenever you're in Bulwark or in Bulwark counter, you can't flip or you can't counter. So,
I just wanted you to know that.
Thanks. Thanks. So that's the thing. There's a risk to doing it. You're stuck there for a couple 100 milliseconds after you miss a flip attempt. So
let's see one of these executions while we're at it. Oh my God.
This is your fast one. You're going to want to equip that one in X.
It went so quickly, I don't know if you noticed. He chopped off the Shugoki's arm with his shield.
It's evil. It's evil. But what else do we have from a Bulwark stance? We've got the Bulwark Slash. It's an unblockable heavy. Can be feinted, as you see there. So you have a little bit of options to attack. You're not totally in a defensive state when you're in this kind of position. What else do we have? Let's kind of go through the basics of this character as well. Chains are a 2-hit system. Light, light. As you see here, light, heavy. The heavies are undodgeable. And get me executed.
Oh no. Oh no. Ow. Good. I hope my 5-year-old son is not still watching the stream at this point.
I hope so too. Oh my goodness.
Also, don't be afraid, Frank, to just show the move list. People love screen capping move lists.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
There we go.
They love it. Get your screen caps going.
Yeah. They can screen cap fast.
Oh, yeah. Quick
All right,
fingers.
we'll see that on Reddit later.
Quick fingers.
Perfect. So what do we see? Heavy, heavy, and heavy light chains as well. Yeah. And as we said, the heavy finisher is undodgeable. So that's pretty cool. We've got a dodge forward shield bash, which connects to light finisher. Can't do anything about that. We can also reach that in our chains by going light and then shield bash.
Probably die this one.
Might die. Yeah, I'll die, sorry.
Quick shout out to Dabani.
Screaming about who knows what.
That's the armor.
As I spawn, you don't get anything there. So light, shield bash, finisher. You could do the heavy if you like, but it's not guaranteed. What else do we have? Dodge forward, heavy. Heavy. That's pretty cool. Tenebrous thrust. Boom, depending on space. And what else do we got on these moves? Light openers. I'm going to do a superior, or I'm going to set you up for a superior block. Just minimum heavy.
Yeah, just top.
So gets unblockable, does a bit more damage. Same thing on dodge forward heavy. You ready?
Yep.
Awesome. So that's really cool. The heavy openers on this character can also be canceled into a, there you go, forward moving shield bash attack. That flows to your finisher again. And, yep, again. And finally, we've got a zone attack, which is a melee attack, and flows to the finisher as well.
So the zone is a melee.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So it's a bit different than Glad. It doesn't automatically flow into a second hit.
Right.
It's your option to throw a second or not.
And did you mention when you're doing the shield toss over the head that it's more than just a one-on-one move?
Yeah, for sure. It's super good in group fights because you don't necessarily have to be... You could parry like their trajectory and so on, like swipe moves that are trying to go through you. So...
I love having Roman behind the
There's certain
camera.
text that we're looking at. It's got a few swear words in it. The weakness to it, yes, whenever you're in it, you are vulnerable to guard break. That's what we're expecting to see opponents do. I'm going to do it. You're going to try flip on my heavy opener.
Faint.
Ready? Boom, boom, boom. He can't do anything about that. I got that guard break for free. One more time. Boom. That's what I got. So that's what you're supposed to do, right? It's more like Ermush's Blade Blockade, but a little more utility in this. It's good. It's good in group fights. It's something that's going to be interesting and kind of define how you fight against this character. I'm not expecting it's going to, you know, change the earth and the sun and the moon for this character. It's going to be a cool, important feature of the fight. This is not going to be SSS tier character because of this one move. So whoever's freaking out in chat can chill.
Skeletor.
Yeah, this guy.
Because I love it so much.
The final variation. Yes, this one is
Oh.
the final variation of this set. They all look very different in a certain way. They all have their own feeling.
So the first set was the material-wise, we divided into the cloth and with the combination of the cloth and the metal.
Mm.
The second one is the leather with the metal, and third one is more on the leather with.
I love the old mutton chop man.
Right.
This guy, yeah, the second one.
He's lived a life.
This one's pretty cool too.
So this is the second set right here.
The second set, and then we play around with the ages too. So with the makeups, and it gives a different
Yeah,
look
there's
of
such
it.
a variety just within the sets. I love
Right.
it.
And this is the set that we reveals the face.
Here's a closer look
Fully.
at Erzsébet.
Yeah. This is the benefit that we have it putting the ornament on the shoulder pad, because we have more freedom to play around with the helmet design or head design or the head design. So there's no constraint, and then we can come up with many different variations. This is the one with the full helm.
Yes, the much requested full helm.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of fun with these helmets too.
Right. So this is another visual language that we kind of brought it for the Dark Knights, Black Prior. We brought more of a fantasy element,
Right.
instead of a more realistic looking of it. So you will, they will stand out, and they will be differentiated from the other knights, and it's it's pretty interesting.
This two you just showed,
Yeah.
blue and the red, is that also where like team colors are going to be?
No, not these
No?
ones. These ones are very specific. So the
Oh,
red
cool.
one is basically some form of leather that's applied to the whole surface. Behind it, there's wood. And as we go on,
Oh my god.
you'll see that, yeah, exactly. You'll see that the designs become more vicious.
Yes.
That's because the shield also is a way for the character to attack.
Wow.
So something that I teased with before on the conception.
Oh my god.
is, there's a you can see there's a spikes on the side of the shield, and I think you might have noticed on the
The
execution.
execution.
So
Yeah.
they're using that as not just to defense, but then also offense as well.
Yeah, this evolution is pretty cool. It really reflects the background story of the character.
Yeah.
You know, once a noble knight plunged into darkness, becoming something else.
We started listening to Slayer.
I think. So what are we trying to do? We want Shugoki to be a trading machine. We think that's really interesting. But we want the Shugoki to have successful mix-ups and be able to sustain and initiate combat a little bit. So that's what we're going to try to do here.
Cool.
So let's break down the things. And that's how we're going to do it, I think. We're going to show you what kind of got broken down on the Shugoki, and then we're going to show you how we built it back up at the same time. So boom, number one, passive uninterruptible stance is entirely removed. Instead, many of the attacks, light attack, heavy attack, zone attack, this kind of stuff, is going to get the regular uninterruptible stance, aka super armor, that like Berserker or Warlord, for example, have. That's how it's going to go. Health has been reduced to 140 from 160. And we think that's a combination of like the passive interruptible being removed is going to be totally fine on the Shugoki. And then you'll see why we expect that a slight health drop will be totally fine, since we think they're going to be hitting and able to heal a little more.
Right, because the Shugoki's no longer taking more damage when it's in passive and uninterruptible stance.
Exactly, because there is no
Right,
passive
it's gone.
uninterruptible stance. Perfect.
But
So
I've heard his Demon's Embrace is now a much more reliable way to heal himself.
it's actually usable in 1v1 combat. You don't just need a wall to do that. It's still just as good in group fights in a slightly different way, and we'll see how in a minute. So first up, light attacks. How do we build this guy back up? Light attacks are 500.
They were 600.
They were 600, so you couldn't really throw them out
Milliseconds.
there unless you thought the guy was going to guard break you. So they're 500, and you get uninterruptible stance, normal super armor, at 200 milliseconds into the strikes. So you can see him throwing like light, and he gets super armor. So he's well protected. Same deal on the heavies. You get heavy super armor when you launch the heavy strike portion. It becomes a little more interesting on this one. Heavy attacks can now be feinted even once they reach the unblockable phase, as you're seeing there. Heavy attacks can also cancel into Demon Embrace even once they make it to the unblockable portion. And you just saw that there. And the timing on the openers are now 800 in the quickest version of the heavy. So no charge. And it used to be 1100
Yeah,
MS.
it's much faster now.
Yeah, so you can throw them out as, you know, parry punishes and stuff like that. There's a minor stamina cost increase as well. Or, how do I say it? Buff. It's always 12 to throw a heavy rather than 12 plus charging penalty.
Cool.
So that's out. What else do we change? Headbutt. Headbutt is no longer guaranteed after a light attack, but you can throw out the headbutt after a light, after a heavy, after a zone attack.
And it doesn't actually matter if they hit or miss.
Yeah, so you can see him like whiff here. Maybe.
2 seconds?
That was a zone attack. There you go. So you can still do interesting things in group fight. You can bait people a little more that some other characters are like. So that's kind of interesting as well. Demon Embrace. We removed it from neutral for a couple of reasons. The big one being it's super annoying in group fights, in that's really Shugoki's big role, is get the hug or get the unblockable heavy. So that's gone. You can still get it from throw, so still guaranteed off of wall splat. You can get it from any of your heavy cancels. And the timings are slightly different. You get uninterruptible stance 500 into it. You can still cancel it from heavies, that kind of thing. So we actually expect that it's something you'll be able to do when starting a heavy and sometimes doing Demon Embrace. It's also interesting in timing-wise, you'll see after a headbutt succeeds, you're so frame advantage that it's hard to tell, is it a real heavy, is it an unblockable heavy, is it a feint guard break, is it a Demon Embrace? That's the mix-up we're trying to set up.